Is church the most ideal place to meet somebody? Some people will tell me that church, getting involved in a church is a good way to meet people. They don't care about your looks. Maybe I could meet some Christian girl there who, likes my personality. But here's the thing. If you didn't know, I go to church every Sunday. I used to be very, very, very involved in the church when I was a teenager, like doing stuff for my church. But here's the thing. Even now, what I have to say about that is you're not going to meet anybody just going to church every Sunday. And especially like me, I can tell you this with 100% certainty. Nobody my age goes to church at all. I've never seen in these past couple months anybody remotely close to my age in church. Like, even my friends make fun of me for going to church. But, I still do it. And I'm telling you, it's 80% of it is old people. And, like, the other 20% is, like, people in their 40s with their young kids. So it's, like, nobody there is my age. Nobody at all. So I pretty much kind of just go, listen, then just come home. Like, that's pretty much about it. But anyway, like I said, you're probably not going to meet people that way. Because, like I said, there's nobody that's my age at all that goes to church. But when I was a teenager, I used to be super involved in my church. I used to do this food drive thing a couple times a month where basically they would have me. I used to volunteer at my church, and what they would do is they get food and I have to like sort it out and like put it alphabetically, which took forever, by the way. And all the people I was with about like 10 people. They were all super old. And it's gonna be weird. Like, here's the thing, talking to people with such a generational gap, like 10 years, 20 years, even more, it's hard to like talk to people that are older than you. It really is. Like, it's easier to talk to people when they're around your age. And like I said, since they were all old, I just couldn't really like talk to them and shit. Like, it was just, I don't know. Like, how am I supposed, and they were all guys, some dudes with their wives, and it just like I was the youngest one. I was like 17 at the time, and like all these people were like very, very old. There's nobody my age. But that was like one thing I used to do. That was like probably one of the last things I did. But anyway, before that, my freshman year of high school, up until I think like my sophomore year, I had confirmation. If you don't know what that is, if you're Catholic, you have to do like confirmation, communion. But my mom, what she did, she basically like I was a year behind. Everyone was younger than me. I was older than them. She like signed me up late, so I wasn't with my class, like with my grade, people I knew. I was with like a whole bunch of like people like a year younger than me that I had no idea who they were. I didn't know any like who they were. They're just like these random, kids from my school that I had no idea. So I couldn't talk to them. They all pretty much knew each other already. I was left out of pretty much everything. And I remember one day specifically, these people came. I forgot exactly what it was. I think it was like one of the last days. And these people, we had pizza. I don't know how to explain it. It was in the gym. There was like 4 tables. Like really big tables. Everyone was all huddled around talking to each other. And I sat at a table by myself, completely by myself, so awkward because I didn't know anybody. Everyone, like even in my class, for the CCD thing, whatever it's called, for like confirmation, all the kids, like they knew each other. They didn't want to like, they already had a social circle. And since I was like a year behind, like I didn't know them, it just like was pointless, it was just so awkward. They didn't know who I was, and it was just, I don't know, it was just really weird. Like they just didn't like me at all for some reason, I don't know. But I sat by myself, like just by myself. I remember I was wearing all black. I had black jeans, a black hoodie, and black shoes on. And all these people, like the people that were like holding the event, like they were like motivational speakers. And I remember they all came over and sat next to me, and they were just like bombarding me with questions. They're like, why don't you know anybody? How come? And it was the most cringe, awkward thing. They were all just sitting like right next to me, bundled around. Everyone was just looking at me. And then of course we did like some games and shit. And then we all sat down, and there's a lot of people, keep in mind, like a lot of people in that grade. And we're all sitting in the gym, like in these chairs, and they start giving like these motivational talks saying like, oh, it's okay, you know, like cherry picking kids out of the fucking thing. Like there's this one kid who they're just like basically telling their life stories. Like that's pretty much like the whole thing. It was very emotional. Everyone was fucking crying. And I remember this one dude, like, cause I just wasn't like saying shit. Like they were like interviewing me, like it was so weird. They kept trying to like get like answers out of me and shit. They kept like asking me the same questions over and over, and I just wouldn't say anything. And I remember this one dude, he had a bowl cut. He was a little chubby. He was like, oh, can you get up for a second? And like while they're still doing the thing, he had me like stand like up against the wall, and he was basically just like face to face with me. And his breath smelled like shit, by the way. Like I don't know what the fuck. But anyway, he was like, he kept like telling me like, oh, it's okay, let it out, what's bothering you, let it out. And he told, I remember, I don't know why, like I remember this so well. He's like, I can tell you're going through that emo phase, trust me, I was like that once too. And he lifts up his sleeves, he has a ton of burn marks on his arm, and he told me, he's like, oh, I had a girlfriend who broke up with me and I did this, and trust me, you don't want to do this, you don't want to end up like this. And he was basically just like trying to talk to me to get me like to open up to him and shit. And I just wouldn't, because I was just like super, super uncomfortable. And like I finally told him like, yeah, like my life fucking sucks. And he's like, see, I knew it. And like, guys, it was just like, I don't know, the whole thing was just like very awkward and weird. I just couldn't wait to get home. Everyone was crying, you know, it was crazy. So, and of course, like, I think the guy gave me his phone number or something. I just never texted him because I was like, fuck this guy. But, yeah, I think he did. But, yeah, that definitely, and it's like, I've been to, like, camps and shit, like, over the summers, like, especially when I was a teenager, I used to go to these camps, like, these send-away camps, whatever they're called, like for my church or for churches, and it just didn't end well. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like I would make friends with some people, maybe like one person I'd talk to like for like, I don't know, a day, then it would just be it, and like that would just be it, you know. Nothing would ever happen from it. I don't know, it's like very weird. They just didn't want to like associate with me. I don't know, maybe because I'm sub 5, but I fucking have no idea. They just didn't want to associate with me. I was pretty much like alone even at the camps too. Like I would try to like join their circles and shit, and they like this is the thing. What would happen? I would try to like, I remember like we're sitting around the campfire and shit, and they're trying to get me to like come in that shit, like to sit next to them all, because that's all I would do is like pretty much walk by myself and just like I was like pretty much on my own, and we had like a bonfire shit, and they tried to get me to like sit next to everyone, and I did, and like it was just like the most uncomfortable thing, and like they didn't want me there. It was like so fucking, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, oh, come on, and then the second I'm there, they're like, oh, never mind, go away. It's like that kind of shit. I don't know how to explain that. But they're even like, here's the thing, even this Mormon girl, there's this Mormon girl in my class in high school, and she's the second girl to ever tell me this in high school. She told me like, oh, you're never gonna get anywhere, you're ugly, you're gonna, and the sad part about it is that she was right. You know, she used to tell me, like after like a couple like months of this class, like we got comfortable, like she got comfortable sitting next to me, and then she just started like talking like really bad about me just to my face for some reason. She used to tell me like, oh, you're ugly, you're never gonna get anywhere, you have no dreams, you're gonna become a fucking loser. And she used to like tell me like, oh yeah, I'm waiting till marriage to have sex, you know, all that shit. She was a literal Giga Stacy, by the way. Like everyone in the school wanted to have sex with this girl, and like she basically was like, yeah, I'm waiting till marriage, because she was like super, super religious. So I don't know, man, my experience with like the church, like these quote unquote good Christian girls, I don't think they're all that great, and I haven't met anybody you know, during my time at the church when I was younger, and even now, I'm definitely not meeting anybody at the church. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts. That's pretty much it.